In this lesson, we'll look at the features of Azure Monitor, including Azure Insights, and how this data can be used to maximize the availability and performance of our hybrid network resources. The Azure Monitor tool collects data from many different types of systems in a hybrid network to hopefully identify any potential issues before they become serious problems. Azure Monitor can be used to monitor applications, containers, and virtual machines. All of this collected data falls into one of two types, metrics and logs. Let's take a closer look at these data types. Metrics are time-stamped numerical data that's stored in a database. This data is extremely useful for quick analysis and issue detection. For example, you might want to collect data on the response time of a particular server to ensure that it's operating properly. You can even configure metrics to alert you if the server response time goes over a set time, such as 1 second. The data collected from metrics can be easily viewed using the Metrics Explorer. You can select from all sorts of different data and view them in an easy-to-read line graph. You can view a single metric or put multiple metrics on the graph to compare them. If there's a particular metric you want to keep an eye on, you can even pin that to your Azure dashboard. Logs contain all sorts of different data that's organized into records. The logs gather data based on the resource type. For example, a log file would be generated showing when an application was installed and when changes were made to it, whereas metrics would show you the application's performance. Just like with metrics, we can use log files to view all sorts of information on our Azure resources. To find specific information in the log files, Azure Monitor uses the Custo query language. This allows you to put together queries to easily find the data you're looking for amongst millions of generated log files. These queries and results can be integrated into rules so that the network administrator is alerted of any potential issues. To collect all of this data and telemetry, we need the Azure Log Analytics Agent. The Log Analytics Agent can be installed on our Azure, on-premises, or other cloud-based VMs and servers. This agent is responsible for gathering the data and then sending it to a Log Analytics workspace in Azure Monitor. Having the Log Analytics Agent installed also makes it possible for this data to be used by other services, such as Microsoft Defender for Cloud and Azure Automation. The great thing about using Azure Monitor is that as soon as a new VM, application, container, or other hybrid network resource is added to it, Azure Monitor immediately begins gathering data. Once enough data has been gathered for a resource, you can use Insights to customize large scalable visualizations of the data. Application Insights can be used by administrators and developers to automatically detect and diagnose performance issues and even track what users are using the application for or which features they use. This data can then help make improvements to the application itself. Application Insights is enabled in one of two ways. The first option is to install a small SDK package into the app. The other option is to install the Application Insights agent on the application server. This agent is a PowerShell module that can be grabbed from the PowerShell gallery. Once Application Insights is set up, it'll start monitoring and pulling data from the application immediately. Because Application Insights can be embedded into the app or run through the PowerShell module, the app itself doesn't need to be hosted in Azure. We can even integrate Insights with Visual Studio App Center to monitor data from mobile apps. The Container Insights feature is similar to Application Insights, but of course, it monitors the performance of our containers. This can include our Azure container instances and Kubernetes clusters. Container Insights can work with clusters that run Linux and Windows Server 2019 or newer, and the clusters must be running Moby or CRI compatible runtimes. It's important to note that as of September 2022, Docker won't be supported as a container runtime. Lastly, we have the VM Insights feature. VM Insights monitors the performance and health of our virtual machines, including any running processes and their dependencies on other resources. VM Insights supports Windows and Linux operating systems and VMs that are running on Azure, Azure Arc, on-premises, and even VMs that are hosted in another cloud environment. The data collected by VM Insights is stored in Azure Monitor logs, which means they can be sorted through easily to find the data we need. That'll wrap up this lesson on Azure Monitor. In this lesson, we first went over the features of Azure Monitor and the types of data it collects, including metrics and logs. We then looked at the 3 Azure Monitor insights that can be used to get a detailed analysis of our applications, containers, and virtual machines. This data is helpful to ensure that our network resources are always available and performing optimally.